In the latest hotfix notes, there were no buffs and no nerfs. This is to let the dust settle before Mayhem 2.0's release, so it will most likely be releasing next week, April 23rd, with the Cartel event. Before that happens, I wanted to talk about everything you want to know before Mayhem 2.0 comes out, and I also just want to talk about what's on everyone's mind, like having to reform for gear. And finally, of course, we're going to speculate on what will happen to Aista the Invincible in Mayhem 10. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Borderlands 3 video. It would really help me out if real quick you could drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. So Mayhem 2.0 is coming next week, and I want to talk about everything we know and everything they've told us so far, because it's not actually a lot of information, but I do think we can infer a lot of stuff based on this info. And I also want to discuss a few concerns that people probably have with the new Mayhem modes coming out. So let's talk about exactly what we know. Mayhem Mode 2.0 will have 10 new levels of Mayhem with 25 brand new modifiers. You're going to be able to change your Mayhem level directly from the Echo device, and you will be able to see every modifier that each level gives you. Some of these brand new modifiers will really step up the Mayhem, featuring modifiers like Big Head Mode and The Floor is Lava, giving us a real Mayhem experience. I also want to mention real quick that when Anthony Nicholson was explaining this seemed to be a bit more customizable, possibly being able to change modifiers. Now that is a bit of speculation, but he did mention not having to reload maps and not having to go to Sanctuary all the time to change your Mayhem levels. So it seemed like they really wanted to solve the issues that the past Mayhem levels had, like on Mayhem 3, whenever we got bullet reflection, you reload the map every single time. Everyone did it. It was just kind of what the community was doing. So yeah, they really want to solve that issue. Anyways, the other major thing they mentioned was that each level of Mayhem will drop more powerful gear. So basically, you will want to farm the highest Mayhem level gear possible. Each level of gear will also help you in the next Mayhem mode. And finally, this is actually the last thing. Anthony wanted to stress how hard Mayhem 10 will be. All he really said about it was shit's gonna get real. So there you guys have it. Shit is gonna get real. That is pretty much all we know about Mayhem Mode 2.0. It doesn't seem like a lot of information, but I think there's much more there based on other things Gearbox has said in the past, and this is pretty much where the speculation starts. The first thing we should probably talk about is what's on everyone's mind, is the Mayhem 2.0 loot system. Each level of Mayhem will provide you with loot that is stronger than the last level of Mayhem. This sounds very similar to OP levels in Borderlands 2. We will most likely have to refarm gear depending on what Mayhem mode you're playing, but this isn't a bad thing in my opinion, considering it only adds a lot to do in the end game. I also think certain people will definitely like different Mayhem modes more than others. It does not seem like getting to Mayhem 10 is necessary at all, more so that it's there if you want the challenge and if you want the rewards. So yes, we will have to refarm gear to an extent, but at the same time, there are weapons like the Recursion that kind of have an infinite damage cap. They should still theoretically make light work of enemies no matter how strong they are. I'm kind of curious to see what some of the overpowered stuff right now does. Personally, I don't mind playing through Mayhem levels to get new gear. I actually really like the idea of this because it can add a lot of challenge to the game. I'm also really curious not only on how hard Mayhem 10 is going to be, but what kind of damage numbers are we going to be able to hit with Mayhem 10 gear. And this kind of leads us directly into the next point. All of the overpowered buffs and gear they've been adding the past couple weeks, including the Iron Bear buffs. This makes me really think the difficulty is going to be raised in Mayhem 2.0. Easy bosses like Captain Trant or even Gigamind might end up being way tankier by the time you get up there. I'm also kind of curious on how a Mayhem 10 hyperfocus will be compared to the ones we have in our game right now. Will a very strong Mayhem 10 piece of gear make Mayhem 10 easy, or is it just required to even power through that level? And since we're on the topic of buffed weapons, I also want to mention Aista the Invincible. Aista was added as an invincible boss in DLC 2, which a lot of you guys already know about, but he's a really easy and simple boss fight right now. I gotta say, I am actually kind of suspicious that he's gonna end up being super powerful in Mayhem 10. It could end up being a really fun boss fight, and we could end up maybe getting some crazy rewards out of him too. But with Gearbox seriously buffing all of the weapons they've buffed, they're really making Mayhem 2.0 seem extremely difficult. Does anyone even remember what the lob and Hellshock used to be like before the buffs? I don't even think I ever picked up a Hellshock before it got buffed, and now it's easily one of the best pistols in the game. And we all also know the lob is at least one of the top 5 shotguns in the game. All those weapon buffs along with the Iron Bear buffs we've seen recently is really telling about how hard some of the upper Mayhem levels will be, and I think we can expect some bullet sponges. And on the topic of Iron Bear buffs and pet damage in the game, especially with Flak's new trainer class mod, I'm really curious about how our action skills are going to scale into higher Mayhem levels. I do hope there is some sort of scaling that we get more action skill damage in Mayhem 10, because we all knew, like, from the base game to Mayhem 3 and even Mayhem 4 now, our action skill damage does not scale that hard. I'm talking about Zane's clone, I'm talking about Flak's pets. Right now, Moses' Iron Bear does a lot of damage, but what's that going to look like with Mayhem 10? Now, moving on, I want to talk about level cap increases. I actually think with Mayhem 2.0 coming out that we're not going to see any more level cap increases, or at least not another one for a very long time. And this goes back all the way to the very first level cap increase. Gearbox wrote exactly this in the hotfix. Compared to BL2 and BL3, your perks and your abilities and your skill trees are way more powerful and way more impactful point to point. So just handing out the same number of levels and skill points would really just destroy the game in terms of balance. It will also homogenize everyone's build. Once everyone has everything, it's all the same and you can't express yourself through your character and their gear. So in Borderlands 3, we're looking at it a lot differently based on that, and in this first level cap increase, we're just going to do 3 levels. Long term, we're exploring some other ways to encourage further player growth that might not be completely tied to skill points. And I'm not going to lie, this is exactly what Mayhem 2.0 sounds like. Adding this extra Mayhem gear seems like exactly what they explained. It adds more levels without adding more skill points, and that's the main reason I don't think we will see another level cap increase, at least for a very, very long time. Personally, I don't like the idea of having every skill point unlocked. I actually enjoy making choices between playstyles, and I also want to see more skill trees get added to the game. Gearbox specifically said they're not adding new Vault Hunters and that they're instead going to go deep on the Vault Hunters we already have. So if we can get these level increases without getting more skill points or even new skill trees, later on that will probably be some of the most fun we can get out of this game. A new skill tree for each character would also mean a new action skill and even a new pet for Flak. Now, this is some heavy speculation, I gotta say. I don't think Gearbox really plans on doing this, but after a year or two that this game has been released, they might seriously start to consider doing this kind of stuff. Now, finally, the last thing I want to speculate on is our current Mayhem system. I think our 4 Mayhem levels that we're all used to are going to disappear with this update. Now, I know that's not really a huge deal because we're getting Mayhem 2.0, but what that has me curious about is how hard will Mayhem 1 be? Will we need the god rolls that we already have, or since we already have such strong gear in Mayhem 4 right now, will we be able to hop directly into Mayhem 5 with our current setups? Depending on how our current gear scales to the early Mayhem levels will really set a tone for how much more endgame we're about to get, and that's really exciting to me as well. I'm not sure what I'm going to do when Mayhem 2.0 first gets released, whether I'll start testing and farming immediately, or maybe I'll just hop into Mayhem 10 Mellow on Takedown to see how like insane it got overnight. See if I can still kill Wotan in 30 seconds. And yeah, so Mayhem 2.0 has me really excited. But I gotta say, anyways, guys, that's really it for the video today. These are all my thoughts, and I'm honestly extremely excited for Mayhem 2.0 next week. Like I said, the Cartel event also sounds really fun, and I can't wait to see what new loot and gear is going to be included inside of that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see my thoughts immediately as it drops. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like. Come on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/thickfillet_. I will be live streaming after this video is posted. But anyways, like I said, that is it for the video. Comment down below your major concerns about Mayhem 2.0, and let's talk about it in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it from me. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.